Hi, this is King Alastair Satan, and we are doing this interview series called Ask Anything, an interview by you. And first and foremost, thank you for the questions. We got a plenty of questions and we try to answer to them with the best of our knowledge and efforts. And without further ado, let's start. Yeah, pretty okay, I guess. Doing rituals. Been reading best novel of the world. We studied tarot and Master of Margarita. Saadaan saapuu Moskovaan.
It doesn't really differ from a normal life that much. Like, usually we have the option to go out, so that's different, but I'm actually quite introvert.
I've isolated myself in my house. This is my kitchen and this is my fridge.
Which comes to a surprise to people often, because I'm not the stereotypical like quiet, shy introvert.
I started running again after a long break. We are creating new music.
I'm very social driven, but I enjoy and I need my alone time.
This one is a Tibetan ritual bowl that resonates with your third eye.
Well, so far.
Of course, I've been practicing with drums a lot.
The day in the office, business as usual.
And also been making lots of new music.
Introduce you some material I use when I do my daily workouts.
We sort of kickstarted the new album because of all the cancelled shows and so on. We have lots of free time now.
A long-time friend and challenge workout by Tommy Ango.
But being home alone, enjoying myself, that sounds wrong. No. Finally, my normal life is accepted. I found out it's called quarantine.
Because now I have more time to spend with my family.
But yeah, it was really bummer that we had some cancelled shows. And we were going to go to a European tour again to support the latest album, but it got cancelled before it was announced. So what you gonna do? It is happening to everybody anyway, so we are in this together. And let's see when the world will open, that it will be a brave new one, instead of repeating the stupid things of the history.
Remember to use personal protection.
I sort of founded the band.
Turning point was when I actually was a part of making the music video for Psychnosis.
If I remember right, it was February 2019 when I saw an announcement somewhere in social media where King Satan was looking for a new drummer.
And we had to listen for Psychnosis on repeat for 2 days.
It was 2017 when I was chopping woods at the cabin like Commando in the movie Commando.
I actually didn't get tired of the song. That was amazing to me.
So I went to YouTube and checked out music videos, what they got there. At first I listened to Satanized.
Alastair first asked me back in 2018, filling both two shows.
When you are filming things, there's a lot of waiting.
And Alastair called me and said, "Hey, you will be the guitarist of King Satan." And I was like, "No, it's a bass, alright?"
And then I thought that nobody saw me, and I was just entertaining myself by dancing crazily in the corner when I thought nobody saw.
And that was it.
But Alastair saw, which was a bit embarrassing.
And I was like, this is kinda weird shit, and I didn't know how to think about that. And after that I listened to Psychnosis, and then I was like, this is the fucking cool band and I really want to join.
Then Alastair asked me to join as a live guitarist in summer 2019.
Short video where I played Psychnosis.
Then he realized that I was crazy and wanted me for his shows.
He was was maybe 2 or 3 weeks. After that, we had auditions.
I actually made an audition tape for him.
The auditions, they were really fun, and it was important for me to see that these guys, they were really nice and humble persons.
And we played a handful of great shows in the turn of 2019, 2020.
Now I've been part of this actually like 4 years, right?
And we really got along right away.
After those gigs, I was asked to join as a full-time member.
And after that, I had to wait almost a month, maybe, because there were several drummers who wanted to join the band, and after that long month of waiting, Alistair called me and asked if I'm still willing to join the band.
But I was also searching solutions for insomnia in 2015, and one thing led to another, and here we are. This one for me. Always took things way too seriously or made a big joke out of them. Out of, angst, frustration, and just plain anger. The crucial point was when I moved away from Kuopio. I realized that people down here and elsewhere didn't really get when I'm joking or when I'm serious. And it usually caused lots of misunderstanding, and still does. And eventually I realized that it's my source of power to be sort of trickster version of black magician. Joker, the trickster, says and do things that everybody is thinking or wanting but are too afraid to do because of whatever collective hypocrisy or moral convention is preventing them to do so. Which is why I find it very much related to the real left-hand pad philosophy instead of some mere metal lyrics version of it. And the Fool of the Tarot cards is actually one of my favorite tarot cards because the Fool is the first and the last step of the spiritual path.
Oh yes, he's definitely insane.
I think Alistair is insane.
Yes, he is a very contradictory person, and yes, he is insane.
But he's not a vampire, so it's okay.
Yeah, he's insane, but we all are. Like, I think sanity and insanity is just a concept of majority. Like, what most people consider in your culture to be norm, like that's their form of insanity. Everybody differs from that in various extents. But I think every one of us is a little bit insane in their own special way. And I think Alistair is a bit more insane than most, but I think it serves him in art because that gives him a little bit different perspective in things.
Yeah, and I've been also practicing my hypnotic magnetic. Yeah, it's very difficult to tell which one is the favorite one.
I don't know, there have been so many good ones.
First times they always stuck in your memory very long time. First King Satan's show in 2016, Sari Helveti, that stuck into the head. It went very well.
I don't really compare our shows like that.
I have played only the gigs from our album release tour because I just joined the band.
Best show might have been at Selviytyjät Metal Fest. There was a lot of alcohol chaos and boobies and stuff.
I enjoy the most when I see the audience coming together with us.
I have to say that the album release gig in Tampere, Jack Rooster, it was the first gig for me as a King Satan member, and the atmosphere was intensive and it was really good gig.
Well, in general, on our European tour, that was something that the band and the audience all came together and we had so much fun, and it was a personal triumph for me because I had quite a high fever. It was like intense and so much fun, and the audience was so in, and our bassist and guitarist jumped into the audience, and it was so much fun.
Also, particularly Numirock 2017 stuck in my memory very well. It was like 2 weeks after the release of our debut album, and had not really much built any expectations for the show, but we got a full tent there and everybody was with us with full intensity. That was very overwhelming.
I haven't played that many shows with King Satan yet. Probably the best one for me was the first one in Untitled 2019.
But as a band, I have to say that we played and performed our best show in Jyväskylä.
The European tour shows, they were fucking amazing, most of them. I guess that's Zurich from our European tour.
Zurich.
Switzerland, Zurich PA system didn't really work out, so it was more like acoustic or something.
When they broke again after we fixed them, half of the people went away. We told the people who stayed there after that one that alright, now let's just party, let's drink, this is the most expensive band practice and just do this, and we just basically had fun. We met nice people there still.
There wasn't sound, and it's kind of relevant when you're doing music to be able to produce sound, so it was a bit shitty, but it was still fun because then we did this crazy a cappella thing and just jumped into the audience and was screaming there. Yeah, that was weird.
We had problems with our backing tracks in Hyvinkää, and we totally fucked up, satanized there. And it was a good gig, but that one song we totally fucked up, and that is definitely the worst memory for me.
Well, no, not at least consciously. I used to listen Mortis and Order Rasario Equilibrium. To be completely honest, they were more of the stuff after the COVID industry times. I think best symbol of 90s for me is the Prodigy, which is also probably the biggest influence for me. I guess I take my industrial from 80s and much after the 90s.
I'm a big fan of horror movies.
Most of them are like quite basic chick flicks, I guess.
I like the old classics such as Godfather.
From the top of my head, I could say The Holy Mountain by Alejandro Jodorowsky, or Apocalypse Now, or Fight Club.
Boogeyman movies and zombie movies and everything like that.
Moulin Rouge, I really enjoy that one.
Scarface.
Or Little Empire.
Like Eat, Pray, Love.
Well, basically everything directed by David Lynch.
Favorite movie might be The Fountain by Darren Aronofsky.
Or Under the Tuscan Sun.
Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Friday the 13th.
I should have said Scarface.
Then I really enjoy Hayao Miyazaki's anime movies, like Howl's Moving Castle.
Apocalypse Now.
The Matrix.
Of course, Hellraiser.
Spirited Away would be my favorite of those.
Godfather trilogy.
Deer Hunter.
Evil Dead.
Lord of the Rings. Sauron is Satan.
Kubrick's movies.
Also Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. There's Tom Waits, and Tom Waits is Satan there.
Tarantino's movies.
Although that movie where Al Pacino is Satan, that was kind of bummer.
If I had to say just one movie,
Pie the movie.
Shining.
Yeah, there are so many good movies.
And then Fight Club.
Well, occult is kind of ambivalent term, and I'd like to think it as a method.
I view occultism the same way I view art.
And it's a very personal thing, like all spiritual things are, of course.
And the most use of it is mapping things that aren't clear yet.
But then again, the most visible and most public part of it, there is one regarding my path.
Kind of conceptualizing things that are difficult or at first hidden.
You could say it's a sort of tantric left-hand path adaptation in sort of a Diogenes the Cynic kind of way.
More like a method and way of thinking.
Where clowning is serious business and where you surf on the ways of the friction, taboos and moral conventions in order to reach spiritual, emotional and intellectual liberation.
I don't have like a specific occult path,
You know, in sort of a blasphemy as a sacrament kind of way.
some kind of road where I would have goals and
The rest of my methods, they are probably originally derivative from the methods of Aleister Crowley, Michael Bertiaux, Gurdjieff, different paths of yoga, Pratyeka Buddhism, chaos magic, and also ancient ways of shamanism and voodoo, which I all sort of throw together and parsed into a whole another system.
you have some kind of concept for them, you can then become to see it more and more clearly and then incorporate them in your daily life.
And how it is visible in your music and normal life. Well, I do major Dante Alighieri ripoff, and I try to write my music and lyrics always having 4 levels: literal, allegorical, moral, and anagogic, which is in this case, of course, esoteric and occult one.
Not all who wander are lost.
And I could say this is my normal life.
Try not to bump into anything sharp in the dark.
Pagamambo number 5.
Kyllä. Tämä on erittäin hyvä ja tärkeä kysymys. Sanoisin, että ehdottomasti molemmat tai sekä että ei kumpaa. Mutta taas toisaalta sitten kumpi tahansa. Mutta ei kuitenkaan päinvastoin. Kannatan kyllä juuri tänne ehdottomasti.
We also got frequently these kind of questions for some reason, and most of them actually comes outside of Europe for some reason as well. And actually, to be honest, we are not completely sure if you guys realize that we are first and foremost a musical group, and only after that we are religious and apocalyptic cult. But we promise to answer as many questions as we can.
We can look together.
If you want money and power, you should help your local stray dogs, because they will always remember your help and they keep bringing you money later on, like a lot of it.
No.
Feel free to join us. We have open house every Thursday and Sunday.
There are lots of different philosophies and organizations built around Satanism, but always remember, use your own judgment when thinking of joining these, and never ever forget your own research. Yeah, that's a very loaded question, but like, yeah, all the philosophical questions are.
I see Satan as archetype and a symbol.
I could give you many answers or a really long answer, but let's take only one point of view.
For me, he symbolizes truth and idealism.
If we speak about music, art, King Satan, in this point of view, I see that Satan is a symbolic figure.
He's not good or bad. He's not good or bad. He's just unapologetic truth.
And through that figure, we are able to point out errors, hypocrisy, and all kind of grievances we see around us. I think that is Satan in arts.
Often why people associate him with darkness and evil is because truth can be hurtful. In the dark side, it's like your self evaluates them as bad and tries to hide them and run from them, but that is not the answer. The answer is to actually study the truth, even the sides that you don't like and are difficult. Like God represents realism in life, like how things just are, how they are made, and how they are just, you should worship the things as they are. But Satan, devil, just represents the idealism, how things could be, all of us have like things in ourselves that we don't like or want to manifest, but when you realize that you have them, then you have the choice to like how do you deal with it, how do you manifest or don't not manifest those things, and can you improve things so that like things could be better.
So let's try to squeeze an answer from here. But keep in mind there are so many ways to look at it, and this is only a one perception of this, and that perception of mine is that he is all of them as he is it, because I'm not really a fan of anthropomorphic interpretations when it comes to the spirituality. It's a being, it's an essence, and it can be perceived as an entity if you keep in mind that its entity like manifestation is a mere reflection of your mind as projected, but which also lives outside of you as a whole in sort of a Kantian universe where there is a world as it is and the phenomenal world, but which is also very strongly related to you and also probably defining you very strongly. But yeah, it of course manifests itself in a certain type of force and aspect of a nature and universe, and therefore as let's say behavioral patterns of any organism like a society or human beings, because you know they are gradually emanating into each other. And I sort of identify this archetype, this all, as Satan, because its similarities in the terms symbolic function and tradition it originates from. But after all, it's only a name which help us to understand and identify certain parts of the existence, but which of course holds a very significant symbolic value and power, which of course takes us to the symbolic part of it. So in other words, it's all of them, and this is one perception to look at it. I haven't even covered all the aspects of this question in all of my interviews and all of my lyrics at this point in my life, because you know, more you say about it, more it eludes the description and definition, which is why I love art very much, because it says these things much versatile than any philosophical language.
I would say that it's quite hard to top that.
Furry devil tail butt plug with red lines.
But a mask with molested face is a bit.
Or maybe some sort of Tesla coil or hand sanitizer. Alright fuckers, thank you for the questions. This was Social Distancing is Serious Business parts 1, 2 and 3. We couldn't at this time answer to all the questions you sent us, but thank you very much for sending them to us. But who knows, maybe we will do this again someday, especially if this social distancing, COVID quarantine, pandemic regulations shit will go and extend into the future much further. In the meantime, stay healthy. I remember the worship Satan and fuck the rest. Satan is best.